Hey everyone, so a while back I've been messing around with some dispensers, like you do, and I came up with something that definitely has the potential to become a popular and used redstone design. This is an auto-dispenser, and the way it's special is that usually when you have an auto-dispenser, you have a dispenser hooked up to a toggleable clock, but here a dispenser is actually an integral part of the clock itself. So as you can see, if we flick this lever, it starts firing, flick it again, it stops, and it's tiny. So I thought I would just throw this out into the world, maybe get some input back from the community, and just see where this goes, honestly, because I felt like sharing it. It looks like a really good design. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna demonstrate all of the different variations of the design, and then I'm gonna go into how it works, and then compare it to one of the current best designs. So skip around however you want, there will be timestamps and everything. So we're starting off with just the basic design that's activated by a lever that's directly on it. The lever can be anywhere. It can be on the observer, or on the dispenser, or on the block that's powering the redstone dust. Oh, it's like, yeah, like that. So it can literally be anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you're activating it from. This is the variation of it that allows you to put items in and they just get dispensed out. So if you need like some kind of item stream or something like this, just go in and they get dispensed out, and when there's no more items it stops. Now here are the variations for an upward facing dispenser. So there's this one, and then there's also this one. Now as far as automatic firing designs go, there's 3 of them. Each one of them has a disadvantage, so you just gotta go for the one that has the disadvantage that doesn't bother you. This one is half the speed. This one is slightly bigger, as you can see, 4 blocks. And this one you can't use for a water stream or an item elevator because of this redstone dust that doesn't allow you to put a block there, so the items fly out. Apart from that, all 3 of them work perfectly, so you just gotta go for the one that has the disadvantage you don't really care about because it doesn't affect what you need it for, or something like that. The question you might be asking yourself at this point is, how on earth does this thing work? And honestly, when I came up with it, which was mostly on accident actually, it took me quite a while to mess around with it and figure out how exactly it works. But from what I could find, it works on 2 principles. One is dispenser quasi-connectivity, and 2 is how observers pick up redstone signals from dispensers. So the first one is dispenser quasi-connectivity. So you may have heard of quasi-connectivity, block updates, stuff like that. It's confusing to me as well. But basically, this block over here that I replaced with glass doesn't need to be solid in order for this to work, and observers are semi-transparent actually. Or not semi-transparent, but they're kinda transparent. The thing is, they don't transmit the redstone signal, so if I would replace this with an observer, you can see the signal still doesn't go through. So this block isn't actually what's powering the dispenser. What's powering the dispenser is directly from the lever or directly from the redstone dust. Not through this block. As you can see, the redstone lamp doesn't turn on. This block isn't powered. Even if it was solid, it wouldn't like work. So this is the first part, the dispenser quasi-connectivity. So that's how the redstone dust or the lever is able to power the observer. The second one is how observers pick up signals from dispensers. So generally, observers don't pick up a block being powered. As you can see, this redstone lamp doesn't turn on. But if it's a dispenser, the observer will pick up when it gets powered, and it will also pick up when it gets unpowered. Look. Saw the lamp? And that's how it works. So what happens is, we have a completely fresh new build system. So what we do is, first of all, flick the lever, which doesn't have to be here, but in general. So what it did is, it powered the dispenser through quasi-connectivity. The observer picked it up and sent a signal. You saw a flash on that redstone dot. But that redstone dot doesn't power the dispenser again, because it's already powered by the lever. But now, when we unpower the lever, excuse the noise, what happens is, the dispenser gets unpowered, the observer picks it up, sends it to the redstone dot, but now it also powers the dispenser back around. And that gets picked up and sent, and it goes in loops until we power the dispenser again, so the redstone dot doesn't do anything, and then it turns off. I really hope this was a clear enough explanation. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, I'll answer all of them. It is confusing. I agree that it's confusing, but when you understand it, it's actually a really beautiful system. So now we're going to move on to a comparison between this design and the current best design for an automatic dispenser in my opinion by Zumavoid, link to his video in the description. Okay, so let's get started with the comparison. So first of all, in terms of an adaptation for an upward facing dispenser like these ones, I've not seen anybody make an adaptation of this design for an upward facing dispenser. I'm sure you could, I might, but I haven't seen one yet, so I guess these ones are better if you're trying to shoot items into a water stream. In terms of tileability, like being able to put multiples side by side and they won't interfere with each other, this one is way better, because mine has these two redstone dots that will connect and mess everything up. So if you want to have a lot of them like lined up directly next to each other, use this one. Now I do have to say that my design is more survival friendly, because this design uses 2 observers and a comparator, mine only uses 1 observer and a comparator, which is just a slight cut down on quartz that doesn't really matter, but this design also uses a sticky piston, and that's something that can be harder to get in survival, especially if you want to make a lot of these. It can be hard to get large quantities of slime without a farm, so my design is definitely better if you're just starting out in a survival world. Izuma's design though is definitely smaller, so if you want to fit a lot of these in a small space, then you better use this one, because mine goes a block further back and also has this redstone dust that also takes up a block space. My conclusion from this comparison is that my design is on par with some of the best. It's not the best, but it is the best in some situations and can definitely be used. So give it a try. If you don't have slime or want to shoot items upwards, this might be the design for you. So now it's time for the block for block tutorials. So the first one, as you may have seen, is really simple. All you need to do is place in a dispenser facing sideways, observer on top, redstone dust. And that's it. You can activate it with a lever and do stuff. If you want to make it automatic though, you will need to place in 2 blocks here with a comparator and then a repeater facing into a block with some redstone dust on it, a block here, and a redstone torch. So then if we put items in, they get dispensed, and when there's no more items, they don't. Now for the upward facing designs, for the first one, the slower one, you need to place in a block with some redstone dust on it, and then you place in a dispenser up here that's facing up, and then you need to lead the signal using observers into that block. So you do it like this. You place in an observer here, an observer there, and another one over here. Then you can hook up the lever and you're good to go. If you want to turn this one into an automatic one, then you place a block over here with a comparator output, you run it into this block, place a redstone torch on it, then you need 2 blocks down here, one with a piece of redstone and one with a repeater, and now you're good to go. Alright, so now for the second upward facing one. You place 2 blocks here, a block over here on the diagonal, the dispenser above it, an observer running into it, a block, and then 2 redstone dust on these 2, and then you could add a lever and that's it. If you want to make this one automatic, you add a dispenser, it's running into a block, it's becoming a trend by this point, then you add a redstone torch and a piece of redstone, and then down here, which is what makes it bigger, you add the repeater, and then it works, like this. And on to the last design. This one is honestly so simple. You just have a dispenser and then an observer facing into it, running into a block, 2 redstone, lever, you're done. You do need to remember though, this isn't usable for water elevators because of this redstone dust that doesn't let you place a block in, so the items just fly out. Either way, if you want to make it automatic, you place in a block here. It's a comparator that's running into a block with a redstone torch, and then you have 2 blocks actually over here with redstone and a repeater, and that's it. Place items in and they come out, and when there's no more items, bam. Alright, so this is gonna be it for this tutorial showcase kind of video. I might make this into a series, so kind of original redstone designs by me whenever I come up with them. Be sure to show this to like anyone you know who likes redstone. I think they'll find this interesting. So yeah, I guess see you later next time I come up with something, whenever that happens. Bye!